When the producers came to me with this project last summer, I was like, 21 Thunder, what? I had no idea what 21 Thunder was, and I read it, and I was like, oh my God, this is a soccer drama? I love soccer. It takes place in Montreal. It's based on the Montreal impacts, and it's Italian family. I was like, this is perfect. This is a great project. It's great, actually. When I was surprised when I read it because it's pretty edgy for CBC. I thought, like, there's sex, drugs. I mean, there's, corruption. It really is pretty accurate when it comes to sort of real life and what happens in the world. I like it a lot because it's diverse. We speak many languages. We see many races. It's really like multicultural, very Montreal. This was really different for me, actually, this film, because it's a real romantic comedy, which I haven't really done much of. But recently I've been working more in comedy, like in the past couple of years, but this character is a real character, a real fun, like sort of the comedic relief in the story. So it's been a challenge in other ways, Everything that's sort of happened, there's definitely been some steering in terms of what projects we're saying yes to and what projects we're sort of approaching and stuff, just because I need to feel inspired and challenged. Otherwise I get bored, and bored is not the right word maybe, but I like to be challenged. That's part of why I like this. And so with every role that I take on, I make sure that the project is something that really piques my interest in some way. And no, it just happened to be that that's sort of the trajectory of how it all has gone up until now, but that wasn't on purpose. That wasn't on purpose. I've shot Bad Santa 2 in Montreal and The Art of More in Montreal. And what else? I think that's all that and Real Detective also in Montreal recently. So, and Mother with Darren Aronofsky, yeah. So I've been shooting in Montreal a lot. I love shooting in Montreal because I know all the crew, like it's all the same faces, and it really feels like family. It's like, it's like a treat to work in Montreal. One of the main differences I see when I'm auditioning in Canada versus when I'm, auditioning in the US is that I am much more stereotyped in the US. And that's just the nature of the industry, of the culture, I think, in the United States. There's also a lot of opportunity in the US, which is what's exciting about it. But it's interesting that, like you were saying, these big blockbuster films are focusing on really strong, powerful leading women, which is incredible and so inspiring. But on a level, on this like more independent, or when you're sort of auditioning, it hasn't quite trickled down yet. It's a bit uneven. I think they're still very stereotyped, and they're still sort of trying to put you in, oh, you play this and you look like this, so you should play this, and you look like that, so you should play that. Whereas in Canada, because we don't really have the blockbusters and the star system, one great thing about Canadian casting, I think, is that we have always sort of included women and diversity. It's just really much more part of our culture. And so I think being an actor in Canada has been really beneficial to me in that sense, because I had a lot more opportunities. And it's interesting because I went to school in the US. I moved back home many years ago for personal reasons, for family reasons, and all my friends in LA were like, oh, you're gonna move back to Canada to start your acting career? That doesn't sound like a good idea. And I said, well, my heart is bringing me home, so I have to do that. I can't separate, And actually in the end, it ended up being really lucky, and really, lucky may not be the right word, but it ended up being really productive, because I was able to audition and try different roles on and get into different productions. Whereas most of the people that I graduated with in Los Angeles, it's a lot harder to get work in LA. There's a lot more actors, and there's, it's tough there. So I think as Canadian actors, we're lucky because we get hired more. I never like telling people to step back when it comes to their dreams. I really am a strong believer in just go all the way. But I also think it's really important to look at what your dream actually is. And if it is to, work as an actor, then that's what you have to focus on, working as an actor. And perfecting your craft, and if you feel like you need to go to LA, then you should. And if you feel like you need to go to Toronto, stay in Toronto, then you should. If you know, it's so personal, and there's not one way that works for everyone. There isn't a set path, and so it really is a really instinctual career, I think. And most of the decisions actually I've made in my career have been either discouraged by people around me, or you know, it's just been sort of my own idea that I'm like, I think I'm just going to go to LA, and you're like, that's not a good idea. There's so many actors there, you know, you don't have an agent there yet. What's the point? I'm like, I know, but that's what I'm going to do. And once it's in my head, like a true Italian Capricorn, just like that's done, you know? So I think it's really important to just stay in tune. But like you said, like you got to focus on the work. You got to, just because you go anywhere, that's not what's going to make you. You have to make it, you know, you got to work hard wherever you are. So, It took a long time to find comfort in the in-between time. I don't think you ever really find it. But as the more I work and the more projects come in and the more sometimes I have stuff lined up, it's obviously easier when you know you have something lined up, but that's not always the case. I think life is short. And I've seen too many people in my life gone, and I think that's what's sort of given me a real perspective on life. As much as I want my career, I also love my family and I love my friends, and I think it's really important to enjoy and travel and enjoy yourself. And then when you are working 17 hours a day until 5 a.m, you enjoy that because you know it's not forever, and it's just all part of it. It's all part of it, you know. You always want to get better at what you do, but besides that, there are so many things I want to improve on. I mean, there are personal things you want to improve on, like being able to be patient and sort of sit back and allow things to happen. Sometimes I'm such a worker mind that I'm always feeling like I need to move things forward, but sometimes I don't. And so that's something that I struggle with. A lot of things like budgeting, learning to budget. I think actors are not taught how to budget. And this was a really hard lesson for me in my career at the beginning, because your money comes in sort of really intermittently, and it's not stable. And I think every single actor I know has struggled with this. And so it's, you know, it's not very grand as an idea, but it's reality. And I think that that's a really important lesson. And I'm still struggling with just like figuring out how to budget, you know, your finances, especially when you're traveling, and saving, putting some money aside for the future or for, you know, a rainy day. Yeah, I think just being able to, being able to just stay sane in this world right now is a struggle in itself.